grade for your team in the first half?
You know what? Kind of in the back of my mind a little bit. But I kind of like, our players are going through finals here or finishing off practice here, and I think next week is kind of the time that I like to kind of sit back and review and go through video individually and team-wise, and then maybe have a clearer picture before the second half. So without throwing a letter grade out there right now, I got a pretty good idea, but I'd like to try to make sure that, going through our staff and through video here, and when our players are out of here, I'll probably have a clearer picture here next week.
Do you have a player that's emerged as somebody you think is taking a step forward this year?
Well, you know what? I think there's a bunch of guys that have. When you look at Rhett Gardner, his body composition and his sustainability of what he can do over the first half, it's very encouraging for the second half for your leader to do that. He came back with a purpose, and he's emerged as probably a guy that's leading to the forefront of where we need to be, and again, that's a good thing. I look at our freshman class. They all made an impact. In our group here. From goal to defense to forwards, and that's a good thing. Having your freshmen make an impact. So it's one of those things where a lot of the guys are pulling the rope and they're pulling it hard, but I think there's some other guys that can pull a little bit harder. And again, I think for where we need to go, we have a good shot at doing what we want to do and checking those boxes in the second half. But I think we need a few more guys to pull that rope just a little bit more harder.
Do you think it's difficult to assign a letter grade just because the season's been so up and down, inconsistencies?
Yeah, you know what? And again, I think. When you think up and down, I don't think there's big deviations, in our play. When you look at the games, I think our play has been a little bit consistent. I think there's a couple games that got away from us, but I think we've been playing the way we want to. I think if you look at it, if I really have to peel back the layers, I think the offensive part of our game has to be better, whether it's 5-on-5 or power play, to give us a chance to get to the, I think the magic number is 3 in a game. If you can score 3 goals or more, you have a good chance of winning. And I think it's one of those things where offensively, I think we have to take another step, and that becomes not only team-wise but individual-wise here a little bit on just doing a little bit more, trying to get better in that area.
Go ahead.
You practice all week this week, no games. What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I think there's a couple of things, keeping us on the hook here. You know what I mean? This is a tough time of year. Guys, you can tell that guys are they're physically drained a little bit from the first half of the grind, but also the mental side from, school culminating with final exams and pressure that way too. So, there's a lot of things going on in young people's lives, and it's one of those things of making sure that we stay on the hook as far as what we're trying to do here. And when you think of it, guys are going to be leaving here on Friday, and they're not coming back till the morning of the 26th. So that gives you about 10 days off here, over a break. That's a long time. So again, we want to make sure that we try to stay sharp in these practices and stay focused.
To go right along with that, what's kind of the message to your players on Friday when they do leave? Is it to kind of take a little time off and get refreshed, or is it to kind of, hit it hard still?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of both, Mark. I think there's the first thing is take a deep breath. There's a lot of guys that are nicked up and can use the rest physically as far as their bodies and mentally too, and taking a deep a deep breath there. But the other part of it is you got to stay in shape and you got to stay focused on what we need to do. So yeah, it's a little bit of time off, but we need to make sure that we use that beneficially as far as regrouping and resetting, but staying sharp and with our physical state.
As a coach, how do you use this time?
Well, for us, there's a number of things. When our guys leave here on Friday, obviously everybody's going different directions recruiting. That remains focused until probably the 23rd of December, and then there's a couple days for Christmas, and then we're back at it again with our team. But recruiting is a big thing. The other thing is what you talked about, Eric, about looking at your team and pulling the layers back and seeing how you can get better, and then kind of giving a grade on your team and how we need to get better in the second half. So kind of just reviewing your team in the first half and making sure that you don't miss anything.
Are you concerned that last couple of years you've had an inordinate amount of injuries? Is there something you can do?
Well, yeah, that's another thing that we want to look at too. Is are we doing the right things? With I guess practices and rest and conditioning and different things like that. We feel we do things the right way here. I think at North Dakota, we play a hard brand of hockey, and I think it's something that we cherish and that gives us success from year to year. And I don't know if other teams play the degree that we do consistently in practice and games, but it's something that we're going to have to make sure that we monitor, and if we have to adapt a little bit, we will. But for the most part, we do everything pretty hard and firm here, and again, that's one of the things that we do, and we got to make sure that we monitor it going forward.